When you first arrive to pick up a Trishaw, can you check the batteries that may be on charge? If the charger is showing a green and red light, that means the batteries are charged, and you can then just switch them off, please, at the socket. If they're showing two red lights, that means they're still charging, so leave them as they are. The Trishaw as it stands, we all know is battery assisted. We've got the batteries at the rear, the motor is on the back hub. On the battery there's an ignition switch. There are three positions. In the middle is rest, to the rear is on, and then if we want to remove the battery we turn it towards the front of the vehicle. Then we can slide the battery out. We'll cover that again shortly. The control panel here, when you switch the battery on, when you switch the ignition on, there is a switch that is marked with a universal power marker. Press that and you will get the bank of lights that show your battery reserve, and it will immediately come up with one power level. You can switch that off, switch the power off by pressing that button again. That is your down button in power levels, and then above it is the up button where you can go up the power levels to level number 5. Just to the right of those two buttons is the walk assist button, which will make the vehicle move without you having to pedal. That can be useful if you get stuck on a hill with passengers and you can't actually get yourself moving. You can press the walk assist button and it will do that. The brakes, there is a parking brake that must be on whenever you are not sitting on the machine. It's operated by pulling the left hand brake lever in and pushing the little grey button towards the middle of the bike. That will put the brake on and it will not move. To release it, you just pull on the brake lever again and it will move. As I say, that's got to be on whenever you're not sitting on it. With the power levels, if the lights go out, if you haven't used the power level at all for a long period, the lights will go out. Don't worry, just press the on button again and they will come back up. Gears, 7 gears, twist grip. If the bike doesn't go into gear properly with a twist grip, just give it a little wiggle. They can sometimes be a little bit inaccurate. So that's that. The brakes are matched. Right hand lever for that brake, left hand lever for that brake. There is a rear brake as well, but so when you are braking, try and brake evenly with both brakes. The only exception to that is if you are turning and have to brake at the same time, give a little bit more pressure on the side you are turning. That will make the opposite side wheel turn just that little bit faster and will help you turn a little bit easier. We've got an integral lock which is operated by a lever here. Turn the key towards the back of the machine, push the lever down and then take the key out. That creates a lock into the back wheel. If it doesn't operate properly, that's because there's a spoke in the way. So just move the back wheel slightly so that the lock will go through. And to unlock, it's quite simple. Put your key in and you can hear it now that it's unlocked. The mirror, if you use the mirror for when you're on the road, they do work loose. There's a little lock button, tightening button there, knob. If you can just check that to make sure that tightens up, otherwise they sometimes do fall off. The cab is the platform. There are a couple of ways of mounting people. The way that we've always taught is to press down and create a ramp so that the people can be guided up. Sometimes they're not happy with that, and you can either get them to walk up by holding on to the armrest there and guiding them in that way. although some will insist on just shuffling up and trying to climb on themselves. If they insist on doing that, make sure that you keep some weight on the back of the machine so that it doesn't tip as they climb aboard. Once they're in and seated, the seat belt, just like an airline seat belt, goes round both if you've got 2 passengers. Click it into place and then pull it just like an airline seat belt to tighten it. Try and make sure that when it's in use, and even when it's not in use, that the seat belt is pushed well back, because they do fall off and get caught in the wheels and we get fraying. So try and keep them from falling either over the sides or down in the gap between there. The foot muff, you see okay, which is stored underneath, has a little envelope at the bottom, and the easiest way to put it on is to scoop it like that over their feet, says he, it's the wind, and then clip it into place using the toggles on either side. You can either try and tuck the wing in down the side of them, or just leave it loose. And then to fold it up, just tuck the wings in, fold it in half, and then just bundle it up and push it back under. Try and make sure that it's behind the little ridge there, because it can work its way out if you're going down a bumpy road and there's no legs of people to hold it in place. The canopy, try not to use it if you can help it, because it creates that barrier between you and the passengers. But if you need to, it's quite simple to put up. Just lift it out, and these poles go into these sockets either side. The front socket moves to allow for you to put it in and then to extend the canopy out. Once it's up, these little rubber hooks just hook over there either side to put the tension on, and then at the back there is a little snap buckle which will just go round the frame and snap into place and tighten it up just to hold it as you go along. Removal, just do that in reverse. Lift it off and it will just sit back behind the cab in the little well. Make sure it's all in place so we don't lose any bits as we go along. Tucked in, out of the way. That's that. That's about all you need to know, really. We'll just cover one little bit about when you come back, or in fact when you first arrive and get the Trishaw out. If you can check the batteries that are on charge, if they're showing a red and green light, that means they're charged. Can you switch them off? And then there will always be a charged battery for the next user. When you come back at the end of your trip, if you've got 3 light bars or left of battery reserve, can you take the battery off, put it on charge and put the new battery on? If you're concerned about running out of battery power when you're out, and you'll soon learn how much you need, but if you're worried There's no reason why you can't take a spare battery with you in the footwell, just in case you need to change over en route. That'll just give you a bit of a safety margin if you're concerned. Can you make sure that the garage is properly locked when you leave? You need to actually turn the key to lock it, and just give it a wiggle to check. Two key presses, ours is the top one, so don't worry about the bottom one at all. Ours is the top one. When you have taken the trishaw for a ride or brought it back, can you make sure the key's back inside, it's shut properly and the numbers are jumbled?